Hey guys, what's up? It's Deprimido. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here in FL Studio and I actually got kind of a different video type coming for you today. For one, it's going to be much better edited than usual, but more importantly, it's just a totally different video style. You know, you see a lot of these videos where guys come on and they make whatever type of beat and then they title the video how to make ... type beat. But really they're not actually teaching you much. They're kind of just letting you watch them make the beat. So this is kind of going to be the opposite. I'm really going to break down the different elements that go into specific styles of beat. And hopefully it turns out really cool. I think this is going to be a pretty dope style because I haven't seen many people doing it before. So I think it should be pretty cool. Also guys, sorry I missed a couple uploads last week. My computer's been kind of glitching out, but it's better now. With that said, there might be a few glitches in the video. So just stick with me guys. I'm getting a new computer and a new camera and all that stuff soon. So things are going to get a lot better, but for now, just stick with me. So yeah, let's just jump into how to do these melodies. So a lot of times the main instrument is going to be a piano, not all the time. As with everything in this video, it's not going to be every single beat is not going to be like this, but in general, he's going to start off with a piano. Now we also want to go with kind of a lower scale because 21 Savage has a pretty low voice. So let's go with A minor for this one, and we're going to go with A4 to start with. Now we also don't want to do super fast. Generally these beats are going to be in the 140 BPM to like 155 BPM. So let's just go with 140 for now. And we're just going to lay down some chords. We're in the minor scale, of course. Now, if you want to go for an even darker vibe, you can kind of go down to different notes and it's even darker. And that way you're still in the A minor scale, but you're not using A minor as the root note. So what that's called is you're using a different mode. And basically it just gives the song a totally different vibe, and I think it's really cool. So we're going to start with this, and then I'm just going to copy that over and bring this up. And then we can double that over, and I'm going to so that doesn't sound good, so we can try bringing this down. So basically you just want to have a really simple and really dark chord progression. So that sounds good enough. I'm going to copy these root notes and then I'm going to bring them down an octave. I don't actually love this last chord, so I might change it. So guys, this is the chord progression that I ended up coming up with. I just copied it over here, and then just to add a little bit of variation, I took the middle notes from these chords and brought them up an octave. This is what it sounds like. Now actually, I want to try bringing this down to there. And I think that gives it an even darker vibe, and I kind of like it. So yeah, let's stick with that. Next up, we can talk about counter melodies. So for this, we want to keep it really, really simple. These beats just tend to be very, very simple. So I might just start with the root note, and I'm going to still use this piano for now. Now I'm just going to copy this over, but then I'm going to bring it up an octave, again, just to add a little bit of variation. So let's talk about what I actually did for this counter melody. Since we want to keep this really dark, we just got a half step right here. This is also the resolving note for this right here, so it sounds good. And then these notes just add a little bit of tension as well, and they sound pretty decent. And we're just keeping the rhythm really, really simple here. That's what we want to do with this whole beat pretty much. And then we're going to add a little bit more in the drums, but for right now with the melody, we're just going to keep it really simple. So altogether, this is what it sounds like. So you can hear that sounds really good. It's a nice simple vibe and just sounds really nice. So right now what I'm going to do is a few things. One, I'm going to put it on the first mixer track and I'm going to try halftime on it. I already have it preloaded. I don't really like that. For one, it's way too low, but we could fix that by pitching it up a bit. But I just don't really like the I think it takes away too much. So we're just going to leave it as it is for now. And then we can also try something right here. We're going to click that little button right there and press Alt-R. That's going to render it out and put it in the playlist. So now we can reverse it like that. Then we got to line it up. So the way that I line it up usually is just put this on the nearest line like that. Then we can just cut it right there. And then we've got that. Now actually I messed up a little bit. Before we do that, we should have pressed Alt-Y and then do it. That way when we put it back with the original recording, it's going to still be playing the same chords even though it's reversed. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Alright guys, so I got this reversed and lined up correctly. So now I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to press Alt-Y again to set it back to how it was originally, and then we can listen to them together. Now what we can do is just play with this a little bit as a sample. So one thing I might try, pitching it up an octave. I think that sounds pretty cool. And basically this is just trial and error. We're going to try to layer this a little bit. 21 Savage beats tend to have the melody layered pretty heavily with a lot of different instruments. So this is something you can do. We can also try it on violins or horns or whatever. But generally these beats are going to have mostly realistic sounding instruments. So pianos, strings, horns, bells, stuff like that. Not so much guitars. That's not really the vibe. Not to say that it couldn't be done, but generally it's not going to have too many guitars. So now I am going to get rid of this wrong version of it. I'm going to bring this up with the rest of the melodies, and then I'm going to bring in another instance of expand, and we're going to go with some violins, and I'm just going to layer this, but change a few notes around just to make it a little bit more interesting. Alright, so this is the pattern that I came up with the violin. I think it sounds really cool and nice and dark. So yeah guys, I think that sounds pretty cool. I'm just gonna try grabbing this, I'm gonna copy it, and then I'm gonna bring it down an octave just to kind of fill it out a little bit, and then I'm gonna turn down the top version. I think that sounds pretty good, but this is a little overpowering, so I'm going to just turn it down. And we can drop this in a mixer. Now 21 Savage beats aren't going to have a ton of reverb or effects like that, but I am going to add just a little bit to make this a little bit more stereo. I've got a nice simple melody, so now I think I might just add one more thing. I'm going to go with purity for this. And I'm going to try to find a bell. As I said, these types of beats usually have mostly pretty realistic sounds. So I'm going to go here to the bell section and I'm going to look for something that sounds good. So that's pretty much our melody. I don't think I'm going to add anything else. So now we can kind of get into the drums. First guys though, I do want to ask you to subscribe and like. I would really appreciate it. Also, I'm dropping a free loop kit when we get to 200 subscribers, and we're at 120 right now, so we're getting fairly close. Also go follow me on Instagram. I'm dropping a MIDI kit when I reach 2,000 followers, and I'm at like 1,700 right now, so we're getting really close. But yeah, so let's just jump into the drums. So for this, we're going to want relatively tight sounds. I kind of like this. It's nice and dark. I'm just going to drop it in here. I've already got a two-step laid out. So for these hi-hats, we've got a two-step here. You can take a few notes out or add a few, but we don't really want to do rolls for 21 Savage type beats. They mostly have these little double notes right here that you can hear. There's almost always one on the 3, so that just sounds really good. Then I'm kind of feeling like using a snare for this. You can use a snare or a clap for these types of beats. Now a lot of 21 Savage type beats are going to have these little 808 rolls, so I'm going to go to third step right here, and we can just chop this like this, and then put one there. Now, one thing that's really important is when you have those 808 rolls, or really anytime you're using an 808, definitely make sure that the 808 cuts itself. Otherwise, it will just sound horrible. Now, I do want to mess with these notes a little bit, so I might bring this one to the 5th. You want your 808 to hit, but you don't want it to be super overpowering. Then I'm just going to layer it with a kick, nice and simple. Just don't have your kicks roll. It doesn't sound good pretty much ever. So we're just going to have the first one hit right there. So that sounds pretty good to me. And now we can just go with a few little percussions and stuff like that. Real quick, guys, before I get into the perks and stuff, I just want to ask you to go down to the description. I've got 2 free melody kits there, or maybe more. I don't actually remember how many, but there's a few free melody kits down there. So make sure you go and grab those. It's got a few of these types of melodies, a lot of Juice WRLD type of stuff, and just a bunch of random stuff. So they're all really good. Make sure you go grab them, and again, they're free. So now, guys, I'm just going to jump into the open hats. I'm going to go with this one and put it on the 1. A lot of times these types of beats don't actually have open hats or even bounce snares. They just have the regular clap and stuff. But for this one, I think it just sounds good. And sometimes they have them. It's just not super common. So just think about that, but don't let that limit you. So yeah, guys, this is pretty much all that we're going to add. Again, we just want to keep these beats really, really simple. So that's all we're really doing. So now I'm just going to get into the mixing, and I'll probably cut this part out because you guys have seen how I mix beats before. I just solo out each sound, listen to it, see if it needs effects, and then I level it. It's very simple. If you want to see that, you can go check out one of my other videos. Alright, guys, so this is what our final mix sounds like. For these types of beats, you don't want to have the 808 be too loud compared to everything else. Pretty much same with all of the drums. You want the melody to be pretty prominent in these types of beats, which is a little bit different than a lot of trap beats, but it's not too different. It's just kind of a style choice, and that's just how these beats tend to be. But if you want to have a loud 808 or a really distorted 808 or whatever, that's fine. But usually these beats have a fairly clean 808 like this, and it's pretty quiet and ducked down in the mix. Not too much, you know, you still want it to be audible, but not super like in your face. So next, I'm just going to get into the arrangement. These types of beats are usually arranged a little bit differently than a lot of beats. So I'm just going to do pretty much my standard arrangement, which is just dropping all of this into the playlist like that. And then we want to, whenever you have an audio clip, you want to make sure that it's not bleeding over at all, because that'll screw up your whole arrangement. And then I'm just going to double all of this over a few times. So these are pretty much going to start normally. Sometimes they just won't even have an intro, but most of the time they do. So for that, I'm just going to take out all the drums and leave all the melodies in like this. Pretty simple. Then I'm gonna have my tag as usual right about here. Here's where the arrangement kind of gets different. So a lot of times beats will start with the hook, but with 21 Savage beats, a lot of time he actually starts with the verse. So the way that I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna probably take some sounds out of the melody like this. I might just leave in these two right here because we want it to still drop pretty hard, but it's going to be a little bit different. Here's another thing that's kind of different about these types of beats is a lot of times they have quite a few breakdowns in them. So I'm going to add one right here. If you don't know, a breakdown is just where you take out all the drums and you just leave in the melody. So that sounds pretty good. And then for the outro, just pretty much do it however you want. A lot of times it'll fade out though. So I'm just going to bring the melodies over like that. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the whole beat. I'm going to let it play out here totally in a second, But first, I just want to thank you all for watching. Please subscribe and drop a like. It really helps me out. Also, make sure to check out all those melody kits and subscribe for more. Also, let me know what artists you want to see me do this with. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense, and I hope I explained everything well enough. These are going to get better as I kind of get more used to them, but hopefully for the first video of this type, it was good. So yeah, subscribe, drop a like, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.
How did Deprimido make this slap so hard?